Hey folks, welcome back here to my channel, Whiskey Wismar. My name is Christopher, and for my 10th review I have another one of my favorite bottles, and this is the last bit that's left from this bespoke Benrinnes 1982, 26 years old, bottled by the bottlers. So before I go into Benrinnes and the whiskey itself, a few words about this independent bottler. So situated and located in Edinburgh and Leith, they released from the 90s onwards to the late 2000s a number of exceptionally well received casks, and this is one of the later bottlings. So the bulk of their releases, 90s, early 2000s, then 2009 among the last, and there were, however, two more of those, the bottlings in 2015, a Springbank, as far as I know, and a Port Charlotte, both also very well received. So for those who are avid readers of Whiskey Fun or follow the Malt Maniacs, then you know that this bottler, the Bottlers, is actually was the highest rated bottler on the Malt Maniac Monitor, their own internal database for ratings that the members of the Malt Maniacs rated and reviewed. So it's quite a pity that they stopped releasing pretty much altogether. So in the last now you could say almost 10 years, just two bottles that they were, or two bottlings that they released here to the public. So really quite a pity, but could mean all kinds of things. So for once, that they are not interested in whiskies anymore, which I doubt. More likely that they cannot find suitable samples and suitable casks anymore. Or that they that the times and the circumstances within the whiskey industry has changed so much that they now say, well, it's not worth the money anymore, or that the quality is not really up to par any longer from what they bottled before. So we'll see how this Benrinnes will hold up, will fare here on my 10th review. As I said, we'll probably get a pretty high mark, as this is, as I said, one of my most prized bottles that I had, as you can see, and that I will review here for you on this channel. So Benrinnes, up until the 2000s, I believe it was 2009 or 2007, something like that, that they stopped using direct firing of their stills, and this will inevitably change the character of the malts that they produce nowadays. But back in the 1980s, this was still very much the case. So industry still had good supply, ample supply of awesome sherry casks, direct firing, and this then of course comes through here on a bottling like this. So what you have to know, however, about Benrinnes is that they also do triple distillation. So you, on the one hand, you have this prospect of having very characterful new make due to the direct firing, but at the same time they use a triple distillation to then I would reckon result in a cleaner spirit. So it's a little bit interesting, what they do with their spirits. And from what I could gather over the course of the last couple of years, by having tried a number of Benrinnes, is that they work very well with sherry casks. With bourbon, it's a different matter. They are well-made malts. They work well. But they don't offer anything substantially new and exciting. The sherry Benrinnes, all that I could try, were all exceptional. They were all offered something more than your run-of-the-mill dark sherry, full of cask influenced bottlings that you have nowadays. Most of them usually pretty young. So the ones particularly released in the late 2000s, from the 80s, or 90s. There were a number of younger Benrinnes, sherry Benrinnes in the 90s, 1996, 1998. Whiskey Broker had one. Lady of the Glen had a Whiskey Merchants. There was something else. 80 Rattray, yes, there was one that comes to my mind as well. So from the 90s, so 12, 13, 14 years old, also exceptional. This one, much older however, and of course also more than a decade. Distilled a decade earlier. Okay, maybe one last bit of trivia about the bottlers. They imported these elongated cognac bottles from France. They were not manufactured and produced in the UK, but instead they actually imported these bottles from France. And I have to apologize for the sorry state of this bottle. This will be the last of it, so after this it goes into the trash bin. But it was up on my kitchen's cupboard for a number of years, and of course, if you have been using a frying pan and have been cooking a lot, then over the years the label would suffer, unfortunately. But as I said, it's not the bottle is empty now anyway. So this memento will have has now really served its purpose. After this review, then it will be no more. So now for this Benrinnes, it comes from a refilled sherry butt, but the color, it's really deep mahogany. It's so they must have used the cask previously for very short initial maturation, or just used some kind of sacrificial spirit to suck out all the strong oak influence. And what you have now is a refilled sherry butt that really embarrasses a lot of first fill sherry bombs out there nowadays. But then again, 26 years is quite a long time of maturation, so have to put that in perspective as well. So now on the nose. Pungent, expressive, assertive, lots of oak. And this is what makes this bottling sort of controversial and divides the nation of sherry cask lovers, is that there's lots of sulfur in this. Sulfur components you can find immediately. It's like struck matches, but not any matches, those storm-suited matches with a very thick tip in the front, and if you lit those, then this is pretty much what it is. So very flinty, pungent, but not overbearingly so. It does not go into rotten egg territory or anything, no, not at all. But you have to like those savory, umami-esque, sulfury components in a sherry matured whiskey. If not, stay away at all costs. You will only be disappointed. The oak is so strong still that it imparts, similar to the Benrinnes I reviewed in my 9th review, some sort of smokiness. But once again, to reiterate, it's not anywhere close to Isla smoke, not at all. Maybe the faintest of Springbank sherry cask smoke, but it's very mild, very minor, just an association, a whisper. While Benrinnes, as I said in the other video, has peated whiskies, and the peatiness or the smoke that I found there could have come from a not too clean scrubbing of the whole distillation machinery. Here and for Benrinnes, it's impossible. Yeah, they don't use peat at all. At least as far as I know. So it must have come from the cask, and once again emphasizes or confirms my suspicion that some sherry casks can impart sort of smokiness. It's not very sweet at all on the nose. They are, if you let it breathe for a little bit, associations of red berries, dark berry, marmalades all around, but to tell them apart, it's quite difficult. Maybe dates, maybe fig chutney as well, so there's very savory, not sweet at all. Now let's have a sip. Spicy, sour, sweet, spicy, sour arrival, drying immediately, but the 57.4% ABV, hardly notice it. Could have been 46% unchill filtered malt. This is how mellow and well integrated the alcohol is here. There's some sweetness on the palate. So this could have been Oloroso, refill Oloroso, but it's only traces of it. There's, once again, no vanilla, no caramel, none of that to be found here. It's very unmodern sherry cask whiskey. If you give it some time, there's definitely some deeper complexity arising here on the nose. There's lots of shoe polish in here and leather. Perfumed lavender oak, and then this hard to tell apart berry marmaladeness. Let's give it a drop of water, not a lot. Should be enough. The flintiness is gone now, or at least hardly noticeable anymore. And you have strong associations now, at least I have, coffee, espresso, dark chocolate. But the shoe leather, shoe polish and leather, shoe leather is still there. Sourness is receding with some water. It's not as present anymore. And the sweetness that you could only find traces of at first is now a little more pronounced. But still very savory. The sulfury components are still there, but they're morphed as well into sort of meaty aromas, ham, smoked hams. It's really extraordinary. It's not something you would encounter a lot in whiskies at all. It's very quite exceptional and special stuff. And I tried quite a few, not as much as many other folks on Whiskybase or on Facebook. But enough, particularly sherry cask whiskies, that I can tell you that aside from one other whiskey that is also Benrinnes, this is really quite unique. Much more easier to drink with the receded sourness. Now let's have the last bit for the finish. Very long finish, warming, even with this little. Goes down dry, but not bitter. Now the refill oak, this was quite perfect. If this was first fill, then this must have been, or could have been, absolutely over oaked. But here it's very manageable. It's dark chocolate coffee, but not unpleasant bitterness. So it does not. It can take the water, so some of the dryness recedes, but this is quite balanced for a heavily sherry cask matured whiskey like this. So spicy, so savory. A little bit of menthol as well, so minty components from the oak are there, but very mild. So overall, quite an exceptional bottling, and as I said, one of my favorites so far. Now, for the rating, didn't want to spoil it like last time, so here for those who are watching, absolutely high mark. Very similar to the Benrinnes I reviewed last time, and this is why I give this 2.94 out of 100. Offers so much, so unique, and really tells you how awesome refill sherry wood can be. If you like so far. If you don't, as I said, stay away 100 bahts. Yeah? Don't get disappointed by purchasing a very, very rare and now very expensive collectible whiskey. Almost 10 years now since this was bottled, so when I bought this particularly bottle in 2014, it was 200 euros. And now they pop up on auction every now and then between 400 and 500 euros. Certainly not something you spur on easily for buying a whiskey to drink. This is now sadly pretty collectible whiskey and not so much in the drinking whiskey territory anymore. But if you can get a sample of it, try it. It's very educational. So this was it. If I don't manage to upload another video before Christmas, I wish you, of course, happy holidays and a happy new year as well. And then I'll see you maybe next year, maybe between Christmas and New Year's. We'll see. Okay, then have a great day and bye bye.